Hello, I'm Tay on the TamBoTC channel. I want to quickly talk about something. So I've given up on watching Angry Joe in general. I haven't watched him in a while. I just knew about this because I've seen the rating that he's given it. Technically, Angry Joe is saying that Mass Effect Andromeda is better, probably even potentially other terrible games, worse than Starfield, but better than Starfield. And while I can see why Starfield is something not everybody can get into in the same way Death Stranding was back in the day, I don't agree with the stuff said about it and such. It definitely has more sense of danger. There are actual important characters that can genuinely die. There are choices and such that can actually happen too. For all the things people give Bethesda games for crap for having like the obvious text that says, or like color coding of certain dialogue options, like in Fallout 4, for example, of that dialogue system was awful anyways. As well as the fact that it'll say like flirt next to it or whatever. Other games do that too, whether it be with symbols like Andromeda does, or even Dragon Age, or something like the fact that like there's color coding of dialogue as well as it'll say Street Kid, Corpo, and Nomad in Cyberpunk. So other games do that too, as well as use symbols and such. Even Cyberpunk has times where it uses symbols next to its dialogue. Whereas the blue dialogue is telling you this is just stuff you can kind of ask, and it's just extra dialogue, but it doesn't progress the story, where the yellow dialogue does progress the dialogue sections, so you can actually play again. So it's just kind of ironic that people make fun of those dialogue systems, and now Nakey Jakey probably even looks more silly now that I've brought that up. But with his whole situation. But yeah, because he made fun of the dialogue, yet other games do that very same thing. It's very rare you see a game not do those things, whether it be with color coding or patterns or just freaking saying what that thing does next to it. So yeah. And I think Starfield does a lot of things better. The ironic part is Andromeda has vehicles where you can go to your other planets, semi-open world areas, and yet it's still boring. So even with vehicles, you can still be boring. There's a lot of potential for later DLC and stuff for Starfield if they do things right. That is, they could have some really good DLCs. Honestly, I can already see the Valrune DLC with you go into the hidden Varun city and such, and whatever potential could be there too, being the equivalent of like Far Harbor or something. You can tell there's more passion, and they actually tried to do something almost New Vegas-ish, even with the dialogue system. Even Zach from Mike Burn Fires said the same correlation of things. So, and Angry Joe's attacked a lot of his fan base and other YouTubers' fan bases. He's even attacked other YouTubers. He's been harassing, and he's been a real dickhead, even in some of his own videos, like his Twisted Metal and FNAF video and stuff, for example. Has not really changed much, and you can see because a lot of people don't give a crap about his content and how disgusting and nasty he's been. I wonder if some of his fans are the same way too. I've heard they're not very great at times too. And they're just very manipulative and crap. Not all of his fans are bad, but just the fact he does the things that he does is really disgusting, and that's why I've given up on him. But after this, it kind of makes his review system look even more flawed. Like, I've already heard tons of people talking about the number system being very flawed in the first place. That's why I do a number point something, so that there's at least a difference between what I think is better, because then I just rate two games at 6s out of 10. But I don't feel like they're on the same level as one another in a similar situation to Mass Effect Andromeda compared to Starfield. Starfield is a way better game than Mass Effect Andromeda. Andromeda either needs to be lowered to a 5 or Starfield to a 7 or something. I don't know. Either way, I can see why people find Starfield not as approachable for all of them, or maybe boring in some parts, but I don't always agree with certain aspects. if the game was trying to do a certain thing with its moons and stuff, and while they still have life here and there, like you could still be bounty hunted down by like pirates or something, or run into pirates in general, or the Baroon, or later on, spoiler alert, the Starborn. There's still random encounters, and moons make sense why they don't have life. If they were trying to go a further direction with that stuff, they would have genuinely let you land on ice planets and gas planets and stuff if they wanted to be even more unrealistic with things. It's kind of like a fantasy game, a sci-fi game being fantastical while also still being trying to be somewhat grounded too in reality. There are Christopher Nolan movies that kind of do that same thing and such. And even the old X-Men movies had that same problem where it's like they tried to be more realistic and they had all these goofy things. Nostalgia Critic shows some good points with like the jet that comes out of the frickin' the basketball court and stuff. It's like you're trying to be a more grounded reality, but at the same time you have all these bombastic things that feel like they came out of a comic book in your realistic setting. So I don't think that's always a problem, and people loved that stuff anyways. Like it worked for the time, and I think for the most part they did a good job, and it had a big influence on stuff in the future for superhero movies and such. Well, though people are getting sick of superhero movies probably now, but then it was a big important thing. So I think they did a good job nonetheless with what they had for that time period. And I think Starfield is genuinely better than Mass Effect Andromeda. Either the rating needs to be the same or less than Starfield, or something else. Like, I do not think Mass Effect Andromeda is nearly as good as Starfield. It doesn't have the same. It doesn't have a sense of danger. Its RPG elements really don't matter or are fake. It's just really terrible. Really terrible. I don't hate Andromeda entirely, but being that it's trying to live up to such a big franchise where Starfield is at least trying to be a new franchise, I think there's a good meme and joke too that I love, and I kind of don't mind it with Starfield now that I think about it. Because like I was talking about in a previous video that now like because if you can put Resident Evil 4 remake next to a picture of The Last of Us and Uncharted and stuff, and they all look like they have the same gameplay elements or all look the same because it's the same typical third person over the camera shooting mechanics and stuff, and every game is kind of becoming that now, that games like old Bethesda RPGs and stuff, as well as older games like the original top-down cameras of Resident Evil back in the day and such, are unique nowadays. Not many games other than indies sometimes try to replicate that, and that makes them almost one of a kind in a way. There's almost no other game companies that can capture that same formula and feel, and I think Bethesda RPGs are kind of that same way too. And as well as some RPGs of theirs back in the day were born during a time period that I made a video on too, where they were trying to appeal to a bigger audience, and I don't entirely blame them for that, and I think Skyrim did it right, where games like Resident Evil 6 did it wrong. And they were trying to appeal to bigger audiences. There's a right way and a wrong way of doing it, and I don't entirely blame it for that stuff because of the time period in which it's born. You also have to think about the community and what the community wants and is probably bothering them with wanting. So there's a lot of things to take into consideration, as well as what Bethesda probably wants too. Though you could still argue that not everything that they or the community wants is necessarily always going to be good. That's definitely a factor that you can argue. But otherwise, yeah. I think that's pretty much all I have to say on this. If there's anything else, I feel like there's something else I wanted to say, but I can't think of it right now. But yeah, like Mass Effect Andromeda, his review kind of looks silly now, and some of the other things I've seen people talk about even that I brought up in this very video look silly now too. The fact that you can think of it in these ways and such and bring up these points of view and so on. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe there's something interesting here you found, or maybe, like, once again, you can share your opinion, whatever, as long as you don't do your opinion in a wave your dick in somebody's face egotistical way. or be a harassing jerk about it, as long as you don't, because there are many ways you can form your opinion without doing that kind of crap. We don't need that. And it's just over the top, ridiculous, unnecessary, and there are so many different ways you could say it and better say it without doing those things. And I've had encounters like that, sadly. And while I haven't removed every rude comment that was like that, I have removed at least one of them. And it was just like, yeah, no, I'm not having something that disgusting and harassing to me on the channel. You also have to think about the other person's mental health and stuff, and how you affect them in that way too. There are many ways you can say something without being an egotistical jerk to that person. So think about that. That's just one more thing I want to bring up for when you do comments and stuff, because you need to think before you speak. And I mean, you have that time to think, so why not use it? I'll see you guys next time. Bye.